This video goes over solving equations with brackets. So here are the steps that we're going to follow. The first one is to distribute any terms into their brackets or get rid of the brackets. Then you're going to move the variable terms on one side of the equation and the number terms on the other side. Then we're going to simplify both sides, and finally we'll divide each side by the numerical coefficient. And then you can always check your answer to see if you're on the right track. So example 1a. First thing that we're going to do is get rid of the brackets by distributing. So 3 times 2x is 6x. 3 times minus 1 is minus 3. Now I'm going to move my minus 3 over to the right-hand side and switch the sign. And finally, I'm going to divide by my numerical coefficient to give me x equals 8. Example B, same idea, except now I've got 2 sets of brackets to clear. So 4 times m and 4 times 1 gives me 4m plus 4, minus 2 times 3m and minus 2 times 12 gives me minus 6m plus 24, making sure that you've got the appropriate sign. Now I'm going to move my variable terms to one side and my number terms to the other side, and I'm going to change the sign. This is going to give me 10m equals 20, and now I can divide by the numerical coefficient, which is 10 on both sides, which gives me m equals 2. Example 2, here we are going to solve and check. So the first thing that I'm going to do is clear the brackets. There's just one set on the right-hand side. I've got 50 equals minus 10 plus 15p. Now I'm going to move my variable terms to one side and my number terms to the other side. So I get minus 15p equals minus 10 minus 50. Finally, I'm going to simplify my right-hand side, and then I'm going to divide both sides by the numerical coefficient so that I can get p by itself. Now I think, based on my solving, that the answer is 4. So I am going to check by writing down my original left side and my original right side. And then I'm going to substitute in the value for p, which is 4. And then when I evaluate this, I have, 2 minus 12 would be minus 10, which gives me positive 50. Therefore, my left side is equal to my right side, which must mean that p equals 4 is the correct answer. Let's do a couple more examples. Here, this one looks a little bit more complicated because I have so many sets of brackets, but no big deal. I can distribute and clear the brackets in all 3 situations. So in my first bracket, I get 6x minus 15 minus 8x plus 3. On the right-hand side, 2x plus 2, and then plus 6. Now I'm going to collect my like terms and then move my variables to one side and the numbers to the other. So on the left-hand side, I've got minus 2x minus 12. On the right-hand side, I've got 2x plus 8. Now I'm going to take my 2x, move it over to the left side, and move my minus 12 over to the right-hand side so that all my variables are on one side and all of my numbers are on the other. Now I can collect like terms. I've got minus 4x equals 20, and now I'm going to divide both sides by minus 4, which gives me x equals minus 5. Our second type of equation that we're going to do is solving a quadratic equation. So our goal is still the same. We're still trying to get x by itself, only now we're introducing another opposite operation. So the opposite of squaring is taking the square root, and there's always 2 answers that you get from this. So let's look at this one as an example. So I see I have x squared. In order to undo that, I'm going to take the square root. My answer here could be positive 6 or it could be negative 6. That is true because positive 6 squared is equal to 36 and negative 6 squared is also equal to 36. Two answers. Here in example B, I have a minus 8. So the first thing I want to do is move that over to the other side and change the sign. Then I've got x squared equals 39. Now I can take the square root of both sides, and that gives me my two answers as plus or minus root 39. And you could leave it here or change it into a decimal. Here, example C, the first thing that I need to do in order to get x squared by itself is divide both sides by 3. So here I've got x squared equals, let's see, 3 goes into 5 once. So I think I get 19. And then I'm going to take the square root of both sides. So then x equals plus or minus the root of 19. So you could change it into decimal or you can leave it as is. Our last example here has both extra equations. So first we're going to undo our addition by moving it over to the other side. So I've got 4x squared equals 55. Now I'm going to divide both sides by the numerical coefficient, which is 55 over 4. And then I'm going to take the square root. Let's change this up here. Make sure that you are evaluating or doing your algebra correctly. So 61 minus 5 should give us 56 divided by 4. And then x squared is going to equal 14. Now we can take the square root of both sides to solve for x. And our answer is plus or minus root 14, which you could take to decimal form. Two types of equations. One is solving equations with brackets. Two is solving equations with an